O hidden light, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Silence 1 minute. Om.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. Uh, I welcome you all to this program. Today, our speaker is Brother N C Krishna, National Lecturer of Theosophical Society. He needs no introduction because he is a very well-known person. Before his speech, before his speech on letter number 35 and 36, I will summarize the discussions of last class dated 22nd January. There are apparent contradictions in the method of teachings, but Mahatma never opposed in principles. Last time, I personally made a mistake in omitting in before word compatible and typed as a refute instead of repute. Uh, I am thankful to Sister Vibhaji for pointing out the mistakes. I really beg apology for this omission as well as commission. I have given a little long lecture on this idea of the brotherhood of humanity is not compatible. In fact, it is not incompatible with your dream, with the dream of Senate, establishing a nucleus of honest scientific inquiries of good repute. I typed as a refute. I explained it in a negative manner, but in fact, it is a positive side. Mahatma appreciated the work of Senate, particularly dream of the Senate to establish a nucleus of honest scientific inquiries of good repute. They will be sealed to Theosophical Society against ferocious and idiotic attack of skeptics and materialistic. Second point, our task is to throw seeds of truth among those scientists, among those Englishmen scientists, and point out those Englishmen of science to the path. Third point, those who are working for the humanity through Theosophical Society may have committed many mistakes here and there, faulty technique, but their ways and means, that is not in vain, Mahatma told us. Every effort to develop, then for the first time Mahatma mentioned the role of animation. So he told Senate that every effort to develop relationship with anniversary. Then last important point, in traveling in thorny path, I say courage and hope. Then letter number 87, Mahatma letter number 34, which was explained by Sister Vibhaji. Most important point, we cannot overflood the world at the risk of drowning them, means giving divine knowledge with a doctrine that has to be cautiously given out, bit by bit, like a too powerful tonic which can kill or cure. Last point, so society will never perish as an institution, although branches of individuals in it may. So all these are the last time we have discussed, and I summarize it. Now I request Brother N C Krishna. Now over to N C Krishna.
Thank you, Pradeepji. Dear brothers, a very good evening to all of you. To go into the subject straight away, I have referred to the book, the Mahatma Letters, compiled by A.T. Barker. I am removing the words brother, master, for the sake of brevity. Not that I don't have respect or regard, but I am just doing it for the sake of brevity. I have referred to the book, the Mahatma Letters, compiled by A.T. Barker. And I have also referred to the Reader's Guide to the Mahatma Letters to AP Senate, edited and compiled by George E. Linton and Virginia Hanson. And Mr. George E. Linton was a resident of Adyar during Brother Sriram's time of presidency. So we knew him at that point of time. We used to go and cycle along with him in this estate because he was in charge of the maintenance department then. Right, that is something to do with George E. Linton. So these two books is what I have referred to, and as people normally follow in the examinations, I would like to take up the relatively easy letter number 36 first, and then go to letter number 35. This is something which I am doing for my convenience. I'm sure you will put up with what I am choosing to do. This letter number 36, as you all know, is from Master M to Mr. A.P. Senate. And this letter was written according to the guide I have referred to of George E. Linton. It was written on a small size sheet of heavy paper, white in color, written in dark red ink, using both sides of the paper. These are all the physical details which have been given because they have gone and verified the originals in the British Museum, and they have referred to that in the book which they have produced. AP Senate then AP Senate at that point of time was in Allahabad. Madam Blavatsky and Olcott were in Bombay at TS headquarters, which was at that point of time the TS International headquarters. So Mrs. AP Senate and her son were en route from England to Bombay. This is the description which Mr. George E. Linton has put it in his book. Now, page 244, the opening statement deals with taking up or admitting the new members into the Simla Eclectic Theosophical Society. Or it could be even Allahabad Theosophical Lodge, which was called the Prayaga Lodge. So this could be the beginning sentence of the page 244. It deals with taking in new members into this eclectic Simla Theosophical Society, or we can even imagine, because he is part of Allahabad, and he had a lot of influence, a lot of friends were there, and so maybe, yes, he was trying to admit a lot of people. So that is the background. And page 245, there is a comment in the Reader's Guide saying that Hume, Evo Hume, was not with AP Senate. He was busy with doing some other index, and the compilers say maybe probably a catalog of birds. Maybe he was a bird watcher, so he was preparing a catalog of birds. And there is a reference to Prayag Theosophists in the letter. The Reader's Guide says it could be Theosophists of Allahabad branch or lodge. So this is what that Reader's Guide keeps informing us. So we need to be watchful in our behavior. We need to be watchful and in our behavior. Master M and KH are the founders of the TS, those who actually inspired HPB and HSO. The real internal founders, as we all call them, are these two masters. External for the world, the founders are Blavatsky and Alcott. Master M says, as someone who has some authority, I've quoted all this, that they were the internal founders and all that is because of this particular phrase which is appearing. M says, as someone who has some authority in your theosophical mela, is it a form, a Buddhist or a Tibetan term for mela? Because a lot of people were perhaps lined up to get admitted into the TS. So Master M says, as someone who has some authority in your theosophical mela, we call mela. Maybe that's perhaps near about what we can understand. A membership drive, which was perhaps undertaken by Mr. AP Senate. M permits, Master M permits waiving of certain rules for a short time. Waiving of certain rules for a short time. In the past, if you have seen the early history of the Theosophical Society, all the applications given to join the Theosophical Society were screened initially. It was like, to some extent, the screening now being done for someone who would like to get admitted to the Esoteric School of Theosophy. So it was much more proper screening in those days even to get into the Theosophical Society. Later on, of course, they removed that procedure, but this perhaps was the rule, or this perhaps was the procedure which was supposed to be followed. And Master M says, I'm waiving these rules for a short time. So he was waiving the rules. So take application forms duly filled and initiate the candidates right away. So there was a process of initiating the members into the Theosophical Society. It was considered a very serious business. So Master says, initiate them into the Theosophical Society straight away. This goes to suggest that TS members, unlike now, where the diploma is signed by the president after the section does all the work, it used to be the prerogative of the president finally to okay membership of a person or not okay the membership of the person. So he was having all the right, and of course Madam Blavatsky also used to assist him or participate in the screening of the applications. Actions need immediacy. This is perhaps the rule. This is perhaps the rule which we all have to follow, which is suggested. So Master M says to APS, do it without any delay. Do this, getting the applications and admitting them, initiating them without any delay. That's what he is saying. So actions need immediacy. This is what we understand is the purpose behind this sentence when he says, do it without any delay. Don't procrastinate, don't postpone. Perhaps this is the instruction he is giving. The work in this direction has to be done immediately. You are alone because I know Mr. Hume is not with you at this point of time. You don't have the cooperation of Mr. Evo Hume in this regard. Evo H is busy doing his own work. maybe preparing an index, as it is said, and he is expecting that Mr. AOH is expecting, Hume is expecting that Master M should do all the initial work, make puja. This is the word which is mentioned in the make puja, means offer Master's good wishes and invite him to work, invite him for working. This is perhaps what Evo Hume is expecting, is what Master M is writing to the Senate. Masters want aspirants to be self-starters. Masters want aspirants to be self-starters. We have to move on our own, gather momentum on our own. No force will do that igniting. We have to ignite ourselves to move forward and to empower ourselves to do the work which is lying before us. And the powers which are lying within us, it is up to us to bring them out. So this is perhaps the lesson which we have to learn through these few sentences. We move, work for work's sake, their help would come. If we do for the work's sake, their help would come. The Master's help would come. Evo Hume is not paying due attention to the work he has undertaken or promised to undertake, because he has diverted himself. He has gone to do some other work. So he wants to reach me. This is what Master says. He wants to reach me, that Evo Hume wants to reach me with the after effects of regret or remorseful feelings. Perhaps it is some other word which is used there. I have interpolated these words. With after effects of regret and remorseful feelings, whether regret itself is sincere, not known. So this is the state of affairs of Evo Hume. I am too tall for him to reach so easily to my head. So he says, having done what he has done, neglected the work, not paying attention to the work, whenever he chooses to come and reach me, it's not easy. So he is saying that. So Master M says, I am too tall for him to reach so easily to my head. Once we lose, this is something which, as a sort of comment I am writing, once we lose on our path or our commitment to the promises or words we have given to them, using not our external factors, but then the ABM or MBA, as NCR calls it, Atma Buddhi Manas. That's what with that, invoking that, we give the word. So if we have given a word and we are not keeping up the word, it's very difficult for us to retrace the steps and make up the lost efforts. If we have lost time, we have lost efforts, it's very difficult to make it up. So this is something which we all need to follow. This is perhaps the takeaway from this letter. Master M further says, he has put Evo Hume aside and he has no regrets for it. He's not going to consider him as an active participant in the work. He's put him aside and he has no regrets for it. M will not wear a sackcloth and appear as if he is regretting doing that. So having put him aside, he is not going to give an appearance that he is regretting his action. So his action of not writing to him, of not writing to Evo Hume on his own, he justifies, he defends. If Evo H writes, puts questions, it is well and good. I'll answer, says Master M. So if you make an approach, yes, they are prepared to come near you. But expecting Master on himself, from his side, to come and approach him, perhaps is much too much. So if Evo H, meaning Hume, writes, puts questions, says Master, it is well and good. I'll answer, says Master M. If not, I'll keep my lectures for someone else. So I've got a lot of people who are perhaps interested, looking towards this side. So I will do that. So that's what Master M seemed to be saying. I'll keep my lectures for someone else. If not Evo Hume, it could be someone more worthy. Master M will look at and help such individuals. This is what we also need to understand. So these directions M is giving And time is no object with me, says. Time is very valuable. It's not something which I use and throw it away or something like that. It's very useful. Time is very valuable and not to be used like an object, but which can be used with lot of purpose and intent. Time is investment in right persons. Time is investment in right persons so that their work has at least few committed volunteers, unselfish workers. So M says, from what letter AP Senate has written to him, he has knowledge of AP Senate's difficulties. There are difficulties because he is all alone, he is trying to fend alone. So he knows Brother Senate's difficulties. That's what Master M says. But difficulties are there to evolve better. The difficulties are definitely there when you want to attempt something. So they are there to evolve a better situation should come out of the difficulties and not to become bitter. So, and offer excuses. This is what we do very normally. For not working, M says, KH will be hugely disappointed. This is what he says. KH thought all this would have been done by this time. You have also kept it without working. So, KH will be hugely disappointed, says Master M, at the turn of events where no work has been done. If whom is not there, you also taken your own time. So, or that progress was done, no progress was done or attempted. So, Master M says, you, meaning AP Senate, you are sincere, others are putting their pride above all, pride above the work. This is what he says. He says, you are sincere, but others are putting their pride above everything and above work. For them, work is not that important, their personal pride seems to be important. So this, all this, though he is telling Mr. AP Senate, I think we have to meditate and see whether these sort of difficulties or these sort of situations or these sort of attitude we are having. So this is something which we all have to pay very personal close attention. For them, work is not that important, their personal pride is important. Selfish they are. Selfish they are. Prayag Theosophists, members of Allahabad Lodge, is referring to, they do nothing worthy. They do nothing worthy. But all of them expect correspondence or letters from him, that is from Master. To expect this, that we will be in touch with them, they are fools, arrogant men. This is what Master says. To expect that we will get in touch with them on our own, they are fools. Those lodge members are fools and they are also arrogant. If someone is sincere, unselfish, altruistic, the elder brothers will look out for such persons and their messages and communications. Do come to such dedicated chelas or disciples. Once if there is a constant contact established, once if there is a contact established with a chela, chela is expected to be silent and tight-lipped about it. Well, he disregards this instruction, he will receive no more communication. This is something very important. So, one needs to be humble, whatever may be our erudition or display of our promises of power of speech or writing, etc. Humility and being incognito, not pushing ourselves for recognition, is what we need to be. One boastful statement or a condescending smile will put a lid on our spiritual progress. This, I thought, was the summing up of letter number 36. Right. Then I moved to letter number 35. Though there are a lot of introduction I wrote, but I'm refusing to go through all that because I guess there's not much of time for that. So we move to letter number 36, coming to brass tacks. Letter number 35, received early in March 1882, according to the book. This is the book Barker has written, and also the Reader's Guide edited by George E. Linton. He says these were written on 3 regular size of sheets of white paper. They were thick in shape. Writing appeared on both the sides of the paper, written by KH in his handwriting, written in dull blue ink. This is just the physical expression of that book, Reader's Guide. At that time, Madam Blavatsky was in TS, headquarters at Bombay, AP Senate was in Allahabad, Alcott was in Calcutta visiting gardens. And William Eglinton, one of the English mediums, who also lived in Calcutta at that point of time as a guest of Gordon's, was also there at Calcutta. So he is someone who is considered as one of the very important, very informed mediums of England, and he was leaving for England through ship called Vega from Calcutta. This is the background of the letter number 35. So going into the contents proper, the first sentence Master KH is referring to is a note of March 11th, 1882. So Master KH says, you did not apprehend, meaning you did not anticipate or understand my note of March 11th. This is what Master KH is saying. This note of March 11th of KH, we are told, is part of the letter number 88 as it is appearing in the Barker edition, given on page 404. And Master KH says there, it is easy for us to produce or give phenomenal proofs when we have necessary conditions. The letter number 88 says, Mr. Alcott has purified himself for the past 6 years and spending still time to improve himself. And it also says, the letter says, Damodar, letter number 88 says, Damodar and Bhavani Rao are congenitally sympathetic from their birth. So these people who are present when the phenomena is being produced, they have to be sympathetic, they have to work along with the forces. So that's why he is expecting. All these people are very, very well disposed towards us. So these people are there and their auras help instead of repelling and impeding the phenomenal experiments. This is what he is saying. Master says, AP Senate also can become a contributing factor or force eventually, because it depends on APS himself, how much of work he will do, how much of study he will do. And he says phenomena cannot be forced in the presence of difficulties which are related to magnetic or otherwise, and it is forbidden to produce phenomena by force. So the letter number 88 says, Evo Hume is indignant. Evo Hume is indignant as he doesn't realize this and all the tests he wanted us to face secretly. They all have failed. The test demanded tenfold expenditure of the power as Evo was surrounded by mistrust, anger, anticipated mockery. So these are all the factors which are there. And we will do well to not to dwell too much on these negative factors of any person for that matter, ever you or any person for that matter. Of course, this is mentioned by the master, saying that these are all the troublesome areas, so we couldn't do anything. So whatever we have done or demonstrated is because Mr. Alcott and Mr. Bhavani Rao's magnetism helped us to do. Master KH is referring to one particular phenomena which was done or which was produced by Master M. This is what is called the plaster cast phenomena. So there was a photograph or a portrait of a traitor, says Master M, and that photograph was dashed to the ground and broken. And Blavatsky and somebody went inside and they tried putting the pieces together. They found one piece was missing. And what Master M has done, that piece was transported instantaneously to Allahabad. And he sent a note along with that to Mr. Sinnett saying, this is the portion of the plaster of the photograph or the border of the photograph which got smashed, and you have got it, and I have just destroyed a portrait of a traitor. This is what Master M has written a note, and you watch out, it is there in your room. So he found, AP Senate found this on his study table along with a note and signature of Master M. This is one of the phenomena produced, the plaster cast phenomena. Mr. A.P. Sinnett, Master says, was right and reasonable in asking for the tests or to produce phenomena. Master K.H. says he would have perhaps answered for A.P.'s sake or Sinnett's sake, but not for the public gaze. What Mr. Sinnett was trying to prove or trying to demonstrate, the demonstrations of the masters, were to satisfy the scientific inquest of the people who are known to him. So Master says, for your sake I might have done, but not for the public gaze. So K.H. says conviction in these sort of cases must be reached by individual experience. This is a beautiful sentence. Conviction in these sort of cases must be reached by individual experience. Second-hand testimony never really satisfied any but a credulous mind. Somebody who didn't have doubts, that person might take a second-hand testimony. Oh, this happened, so he has no doubt, he would accept it. For somebody who is doubting, he will not take second-hand testimony. And he says conviction in these sort of cases, producing phenomena, etc., must be reached by individual experience. So Sinnett has asked for tests or phenomena. Master K.H. says in his letter number 2, which is again a cross-reference I am giving for the sake of information, that one has to change the modes of life. The modes of life. If one is leading a worldly life and also wants to step into occult and mysterious worlds, it's not possible. It was a suggestion that A.P. Sinnett has to change his mode of his life. A.P. Sinnett desired that he should receive letters directly, not through Madame Blavatsky and not through any other agent. He wanted correspondence to be done directly. So as I said the other day, these two were actually doubting Thomases. So they want everything direct proofs. So this is what Mr. A.P. Sinnett wanted from the master. So instructions to be received in audible words. The letter should be written directly to him. Instruction should be audible words, in audible words. If that has to happen, A.P. Sinnett must leave his selfishness, even assuming that I should get these letters directly, or I am trying to show it to others. All this is selfishness, recognition, all this is selfishness, and move over to their world, master's world. A.P. Sinnett, he was advised to take up study. A.P. Sinnett was advised by the master to take up study of occult mysteries, treat study as an important facet of his life. So we know what is the importance of study, whether it is individual study or group study. So master has told this to A.P. Sinnett. Study of occult mysteries, treat study as an important facet of your life. This perhaps is the instruction he gave, which is applicable to all of us. There should be opposition only from the so-called scientific community and the society in general. They may not go with the occult findings, because science believes in touching, feeling, and realizing what exactly is provable. So they may not agree, and society in general also may not agree with this. But then you carry on with your occult studies. So this is what is the instruction he got. It is hard work through which one can conquer, and in the process, if need be, should be ready to perish and lay down one's life. This is another statement. See, it is hard work through which one can conquer, and in the process, need be, should be ready to perish and lay down one's life. So, if necessary, Atma Balidan, it should be possible. You cannot say, no, this doesn't suit me, it's not convenient to me. That should be your attitude. Master K.H. says, the world is not ripe enough. Master K.H. says, the world, the Vishwam, the Prapancha is not ripe enough to receive staggering proof of occult power. And the proofs are given to those who can penetrate the veil of matter. So if you are still materialistic, you will not be able to see those proofs. So you will have to penetrate the veil of matter, then perhaps yes, the door is slightly left open, it's left ajar so that one could see that. So this is what he's saying. The world is not ripe enough to receive staggering proof of occult power, and the proofs are given to those who can penetrate the veil of matter and move over to the world of spirit. Move over to the world of spirit, not matter. We should get into the world of spirit. So to receive instructions from the masters, to understand them the way we have to understand with a motive, which is a motive for which an aspirant works. We have to understand the masters. There should be a motive with which an aspirant should work. For an aspirant, APS and AOH, Sennett and Hume, there should be no anxiety get proofs of occult powers. He says there should be no anxiety to get proofs of occult powers. More to own and demonstrate those powers for recognition. So this is an instruction also for us. We should not go after those powers. So he says to those two people, there should be no anxiety to get proofs, occult powers, more to own them and demonstrate those powers of recognition. To have faith is more relevant than possessing knowledge. To have faith is more relevant than possessing knowledge. Faith will transport one to the frontiers of real knowledge. Frontiers of real knowledge. There is a particular term he has used, real knowledge. A.P. Sennett, A.O. Hume also wanted to know all about the great white lodge, the great white brotherhood. They wanted to know who these brothers are. Are they real entities or they are fiction of disordered, hallucinated brain? This is what the letter says. Prove these to us, we will work for the TS all the more. This is what they are saying. Prove this to us, we will work for the TS all the more. A.P. Sennett and A.O. Hume had a lot of doubts, and this is evident. Now, coming back to letter number 35, Master K.H. says, all the tests APS had asked for demonstration are all those related to mediumship and mediums. So this will be evident to any spiritualist who are familiar with mediumship. So Master warns both A.P. Sennett and his wife will also be understood or branded as mediums. So this is not recommended, as Mr. A.P. Sennett was proceeding on the right lines and gathering eternal true knowledge. So this true knowledge is called GU, DGIU. So he says we call it GU, to study and make good use of such knowledge, says Master KH. KH says further, producing a physical phenomena will not satisfy the unbelievers of brotherhood. Producing physical phenomena will not satisfy the unbelievers in brotherhood or the society of brotherhood or the white brotherhood. KH says a phenomena which is a product of intellectuality, philosophy and logic will serve the purpose. So physical phenomena will not solve the problem. Master says a product of intellectuality, philosophy and logic will serve the purpose. Jnana, Tattva, Tarka. This perhaps would solve the purpose, not just the physical. That's what Master KH is saying. Master KH refers to one Mr. M.A. Oxon and his work, The Spirit of Teachings. He prescribes that to Mr. Sennett. Oxon is the pen name, we are told, of Mr. Stainton Moses, and we find his reference even in the Key to Theosophy written by Madame Blavatsky. So Mr. Oxon was an intellectual, most educated of all mediums. So read and pity, sympathize. Don't you understand where we are and what is that we are attempting or driving at? What is that they are driving at? Realizing that oneness or unity and establishment of brotherhood. This is what we are trying. So are you not aware of it? Is what KH is questioning or reminding Mr. A.P. Sennett. KH says, because you have an intellectual, you are an intellectual, and the society also would benefit from intellectuality possessed by you. Chauhan had allowed all these correspondence. He would object to it the minute perhaps we do something else. Because you were an intellectual and the society would derive benefit from it, Johann would not have allowed otherwise the continuance of our correspondence. So Master K.H. exhorts and says to Epicenet, study my friend, study my friend. There is a purpose and there is an object for your study. There is a purpose and an object for your study. Don't get annoyed, disappointed when reading the words. So whatever I've written now, don't get disappointed, don't get annoyed, because going through, you may feel disappointed. Don't get disappointed. Impossible. No power will ride through Bombay. This is a reference to letter number 144. This is just one statement. Of course, in the letter here 35, there is a small mistake, says the reader's guide. Impossible, no power will ride through Bombay. Means I cannot write to you directly. We don't have the power to write to you directly. So we'll write only through Bombay, through Madam Blavatsky, is what he is saying. This is perhaps the content of letter number 144. The one statement. Impossible, no power will write through Bombay. This is letter number 144. Statement in 144, only one statement, one sentence. We have no authority to directly write to you. It is impossible. We can only write through Bombay or HPB. Master K.H. says further, he had spent a lot of energy to write this one cryptic sentence. To write this one cryptic sentence, I have spent a lot of time, a lot of energy. So you don't feel guilty, he says. Epicenet is asking Epicenet, don't feel guilty, work and study. So this seems to be the most important instruction, work and study, for us also. Mr. Epicenet suggested a scheme of degrees to measure the competency of TS members. Referring to this, perhaps, is similar eclectic Theosophical Society. Eclectic is practical Theosophical Society. Eclectic means, I believe, the practical. So Master K.H. says, it looks you have developed this theory in a hurry. These degrees and 7 stages and all that you have framed, you seem to have done it in a hurry. You should work with your heart. You should not work with your brain. You should work with your heart. Do as your spirit suggests. Do as your spirit suggests. The scheme should suit all members from the East. The Asiatic people, they are not rich, they can't buy books. The psychic powers should be developed by adopting practical methods, not through a book. The psychic powers should be developed by adopting practical methods. In the East, Guru gave the knowledge, Guru meaning the teacher, gave the knowledge, and he is a guide, philosopher, and friend who helps the student at all stages of his life. Through bookish knowledge, a person cannot be developed or cannot achieve any powers. So one Guru has to take steps to improve the intellect meaning buddhi of the disciple. You should impart soul culture, teach or help student to attain soul wisdom and not impart head learning. Head learning is possible when I am cramming and copying and substituting the words and reproducing. All that is possible through head learning. So he says, concentrate on soul wisdom, soul culture. So, persons who do not know to read or write, have acquired occult faculties. This is what Master is saying. Persons who do not know to read or write have acquired occult faculties. What is most important is having that sort of attitude, that sort of the intellect, the buddhi to grasp those things. He says, Master K says, these words should stimulate you. These words which I have written should stimulate you, not discourage you. Because I have perhaps criticized you here and there, but these should stimulate you and not discourage you. If you are true in your efforts, nothing can stop your zeal. If you are true in your efforts, nothing can stop your zeal. This applies to us also. So this particular instruction, wherever the instructions are there, when you ponder over those sentences, I think you can easily adapt to our lives. Master says, we give one word, that is try. We give one word to disciples and chelas, that is try. And Master Subbarao seemed to have suggested somewhere, try means Taraka Raja Yoga. That's his way of interpreting the thing. We can do the way we like. So Master says, we give to the disciples one word, that is try. So physical phenomena are small and trifle. Don't go after that. Physical phenomena are small, trifle with what actually one can do. So what actually one can do is immeasurable. But if you are talking only about physical phenomena, they're very small and trifle. So you don't seem to be kind to the old lady, meaning Mrs. Blavatsky. Most of the people there at that point of time, perhaps, they were not very kindly disposed towards Madam Blavatsky. So this is what Master KH is talking to Mr. A.P. Sinnett. Eglinton has told Gordons that brothers are not real entities. So watch out. These people say what they like, but you have to important is something which is much more than physical, which you approve to your spirit and to your consciousness. Thank you. Pradeepji, I have finished.
Yes. Yes, sir. Now I request Sister Minakshi to summarize in Hindi.
Namaste. Thank you, Krishna ji. महात्मा लेटर नंबर 35 यह पत्र मास्टर के एच एपी सिनेट को लिखते हैं इन द ईयर 1882। एपी सिनेट कुछ पारलौकिक घटनाएं आजमाना चाहते थे। मास्टर कहते हैं कि विशिष्ट परिस्थिति के निर्माण से यह घटनाएं संभव है, लेकिन सिनेट के घर ओलकोट और मल्लपुरा के होते हुए भी वह शक्ति नहीं खींच पाए जिससे कि वे घटनाएं सदृश हो। मास्टर कहते हैं कि सिनेट की व्यक्तिगत संतुष्टि के लिए वे यह सब कर सकते हैं, लेकिन वह बात साधारण लोगों तक न फैल पाए, इस बात की सलाह देते हैं, क्योंकि ऐसी बातों पर निजी अनुभव से ही विश्वास उत्पन्न होता है। दूसरों से प्राप्त जानकारी गलत धारणा निर्माण कर सकती है। सिनेट की अगली पुस्तक ऑकल्ट वर्ल्ड में ऐसी घटनाओं का उल्लेख न हो जिससे आध्यात्मवादी इसका संबंध मीडियमशिप से लगाएंगे और वे सिनेट एवं उनकी पत्नी को मीडियमशिप में घसीटने का खतरा भी मास्टर बताते हैं। अब आध्यात्मवादी कौन है? स्पिरिचुअलिस्ट। ये वह लोग हैं कि उनकी यह गलत धारणा है कि मरने के उपरांत आत्मा किसी मनुष्य को माध्यम बनाकर अदृश्य जगत की बातें बता सकती है या किसी भी प्रश्न के उत्तर दे सकती है। मास्टर कहते हैं कि पारलौकिक दृश्य या घटनाओं के प्रात्यक्षिक से आप लोगों में सिद्ध संघ के प्रति विश्वास निर्माण नहीं ला सकते, अज्ञानियों को ज्ञानी नहीं बना सकते। यह सिर्फ बुद्धिमत्ता, तत्व ज्ञान और तर्कशास्त्र के प्रदर्शन से ही हो सकता है। सिनेट के असाधारण प्रखर बुद्धिमत्ता के कारण और उनके द्वारा टीएस को होने वाली मदद के कारण महाचौहान ने उनसे संबंध बनाए रखना चाहा, नहीं तो यह संबंध असंभव थे। फिर वे कहते हैं कि एशियाई आम लोग बहुत गरीब है और किताबें उनकी पहुंच के बाहर है। उस दौरान की परिस्थिति में गुरु शिष्य परंपरा, गुरुकुल पद्धति, शिष्यों का बौद्धिक विकास एवं मानसिक विकास, यह सब बातें असंभव थी, जो कि पुराने जमाने में शिष्यों के प्रौढ़ावस्था तक गुरु उन्हें मौखिक रूप से ही ज्ञान प्रदान करते थे, जिससे उनका बौद्धिक, मानसिक व अतीन्द्रिय शक्ति का विकास होता था। मास्टर कहते हैं कि ऐसे मार्गदर्शक, तत्वज्ञानी और दोस्त, गाइड, फिलोसोफर एंड फ्रेंड अब मिलना मुश्किल है। इस जमाने में सिर्फ बौद्धिक विकास पुस्तकी ज्ञान से हो सकता है, लेकिन आत्मोन्नति खुद से ही होती है। मास्टर कहते हैं कि वे लोग बहुत ही भाग्यशाली हैं जिन पर आधुनिकता का कुप्रभाव नहीं पड़ा हो। उत्क्रांति पथ पर चलने वाले सभी आकांक्षियों को एक ही बात मास्टर कहते हैं, ट्राई, नित्य प्रयास और प्रयत्नरत रहे। अब हम लेटर नंबर 30 में आते हैं। यह लेटर मास्टर एम सीनेट को लिखते हैं जनवरी 1882। कैंडिडेट फॉर्म इनिशिएट करने समय एडमिशन लेने के भी कड़क नियम थे, लेकिन मास्टर एम उस समय नियमों में लेना चाहते हैं। वे कहते हैं कि यहाँ मास्टर के एच की अनुपस्थिति में मास्टर एम पत्र व्यवहार करते हैं। वे कहते हैं कि मास्टर के एच के लौटने के बाद टीएस में हुई अल्प प्रगति को देखकर वे निराश होंगे। बाकी में इसमें घमंड, अहंकार है, लेकिन सीनेट सच्चे व ईमानदार है। वे ईमानदारी व निष्ठापूर्वक टीएस के लिए कार्य कर रहे हैं, ऐसा मास्टर कहते हैं। उन्होंने प्रयाग के थियोसोफिस्ट का उल्लेख किया है। मास्टर कहते हैं कि थियोसॉफी के लिए प्रयाग के पंडितों और बाबुओं का कुछ योगदान नहीं है, लेकिन वे हमसे पत्र व्यवहार की अपेक्षा करते हैं। उन्हें वे मूर्ख और अभिमानी कहते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Sister Minakhi ji. Anybody like to add anything on these letters, on these two letters? Vibhaji, would you like to add something?
Namaste, Pradeep ji. I think Brother Krishna ji has summarized and explained this very well. In fact, this was new to me. I had read the sentence that Mahatmas have given the word try to all the aspirants, but till today I had not correlated it with Tarak Raj Yog. So I will request Brother Krishna ji if he can explain something about that. The word try.
Anything we have to do, anything we have to achieve, I think we have to use the mental faculty, not the faculty which divides, the mental faculty which unites. So that's the mental faculty which we have to invoke, and when we are staying there in that particular higher mental plane, perhaps the next stage, the Buddhic doors are also open for those people who continue to be there and strive to be people who concentrate on the higher mental activity. So we have to do with the mental, and Raja Yoga is definitely concerned with, as we all know in the Theosophical Society, it is something to do with the mind. Raja, Manas is supposed to be the king of all senses. So taking care of the mind, managing the mind, and trying to achieve through the mind is something which we do in Raja Yoga. Taraka only means that we reach a particular destination or we reach a particular stage. Taraka means to reach or to complete our journey and reach a particular destination. Taraka, Raja, Yoga. This is perhaps what was interpreted some time back, and I just remembered as I was speaking to you or relating this letter to you. So I thought I would just mention it so that it is all something to do with the higher faculty or the higher mental plane, which we normally take it for granted. But unless we make an effort to stay there, work there, meditate, and spend a lot of time there, not with the lower mind or the astral or whatever. So if you, even in the theosophical meditation, and we are told, theosophical meditation, nobody has actually formulated. I'm not talking about Blavatsky's diagram of meditation, but there are some people who believe that we have to put these down, the physical, the astral, the lower mental, and then try to reach the higher mental and reach there. So trying to manage, trying to reach, and trying to be there, and expect that the buddhi vikas should happen, buddhi prachodan should happen, is something which you should attempt. So that is Taraka Raja Yoga.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Sindhu sir.
Thank you, Krishna ji, for giving nice explanations. And Vibhaji.
Yes, sir.
Vibhaji and Meenakshi. Vibhaji, you said try.
Yes.
Usually we think of try as it is Taraka Raja Yoga. T. Subbarao is concerned like that. That is also one of the explanation, but it is more towards the yoga. So T for thought and R for reactions or our responses. So if we are really aware of our thoughts and our responses, then that take you to the yoga. So these three letters masters have given, T, R, Y. So you can connect it, and that ultimately comes to the yoga. That's what I think personally.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Meenakshi in Hindi very nicely explained also. Meenakshi is there? Meenakshi?
Yes, namaste.
मीनाक्षी हिंदी मध्ये आहे का तुम्ही कसं केला ती हिंदी मध्ये
केलं गुगल
हिंदी मध्ये आहे का
हो नाही हिंदी मध्ये मी केलं
हा गुगल
मी केलं हिंदी मध्ये
तुम्ही केला आणि सर्च कुठे केला
गुगल ट्रान्सलेट मध्ये
गुगलवर ओके ओके मग ते पुढच्या लेटरचं असेल तर मला पाठवून द्या की व्हॉट्सअपवर पाठवून द्या
This is Marathi?
Yes.
This is Marathi, yes, yes.
Oh, good. Okay, fine, okay. I'll be able to follow something, not follow most of it. That's it.
Thank you, Krishna ji. You have explained very. Krishna ji, question. Hello.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
You explained that guide. Reader's guide.
Yes.
That reader's guide, can you give me the title of that book? Is available? Is it available?
It's available, yes, very, very true. It's available. I have got it long back. It's almost in a tearing position because I've used it extensively.
Sir, this is the book.
If it is there, you just give me that
This is
reference.
Reader's guide.
Okay. Yeah.
Pradeep, you send it on WhatsApp.
Yes. I'll give you.
Send it on WhatsApp.
Yes.
And Mr. George E. Linton was a civil engineer. He used to work for the PS at Adyar. He was in charge of the maintenance department. And Shamal Rao's son, Mr. Srinivas Rao, used to
Shamal Rao's son is there already. Yeah.
Srinivas Rao used to go along with him. And together, they took all the colony, all the house which were there in the Sri Ram colony, Vasanta Press, all that. They were the people who supervised the whole thing. In fact, even surveying the entire place and all that, Linton took it up. So I know that gentleman because we know Srinivas Rao. We used to go along with Linton.
I know well. I know Srinivasrao. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I know.
And you gave cross examination, etc. Very nice. Very nice explained.
The
Thank
cross
you.
reference.
Thank you.
I asked Brother Mahapatra ji whether I can give cross references because it would take more time.
No,
to
that
write.
is.
Then, but we have read not 2 letters, but maybe we have covered 4 letters. 88, 145.
I know.
Letter number 2, letter number 35.
Yes.
Letter number
Yes.
36. So I have made a point. I have requested him whether I can do that. He was very kind enough to say yes, you can do that. Because otherwise, what is study after all? What is study after all?
Yes, yes. Very nice, very nice. That is what I appreciate. Because cross references, without cross references, in which context they have written, that must be explained. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Pradeep ji, also for giving nice
platform.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we will close the session with the announcement on 5th of February. Brother Sindhe sir will discuss on those letter number 37 and 38. Already I have given okay.
Will you give my number to the girl Meenakshi? Because I know her, I've seen her, I know her father too. So I just thought I will get touch base with her.
Okay,
Meenakshi.
I will give her. I will see as WhatsApp. I will give her number. So also your number.
Oh yes, her sister is also known to me. Neelakshi, I think, if I'm right, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So I know them and I know their father.
Yes. Her mother is a ES warden at Nagpur. I have seen her. Okay, we will close now the session. I now request Mitalini, she is there.
Who used to work in the restaurant as youth plot members. So from those days I remember Meenakshi's mother and Meenakshi's father. Yes, they used to come from Nagpur. Yeah. Thank you, Pradeep ji, for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, sir. You will be again invited to speak further.
Thank you. Pray.
Mitalini plus yes.
असतमा सद्गमय अमसुमा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्यु अमृतंगमय सर्वे वै सुखिनः सन्तु सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु न कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
Thanks for the attending this session. Now I am closing with the words we will meet again on 5th February.
Right.
Right.
Thank you.